folks. Welcome to a very special edition of Bullet Points here on Trainwreck Sports. It is the MAC Championship edition. We are joined, myself and Degenerate Al, by our top MAC UB correspondent, Kevin Messeri, the ultimate UB athletic true blue guy holding it down in Amherst, Rob Ryan, and between us, the legend, the man who needs no introduction, QB1, Joe Licata. Folks, how are we doing tonight?
I am fantastic. The only place I would rather be than right here is Detroit. Second to that, Licata's favorite place, Papi Grande's.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I would love to be in Detroit. I didn't get to go in 18, but I would love to be there right now. It sounds like those guys had a hell of a time in 18. I know you guys had a lot of fun, obviously, until the end of the game, but tonight should be a good night.
Obviously, we're going to get into the reality of this matchup, what UB needs to do to be successful. Shout out everybody tuning in, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Get your questions up for these guys. These are the most knowledgeable UB fans in the land. But real quick, just kicking it back to 2018, Joe. Al, what a time. I mean, with the families, the players, the Dazzlers, the cheerleaders, Satish hanging out in the VIP. Then we got Khalil Mack doing his brief internship with Trainwreck Sports. It lasted all of 17 minutes. It was very glorious. He did a great job with the coverage. And yeah, it didn't turn out the way we wanted, but that made us all the thirstier for this. This was why they didn't give up last year after the slow start in MAC play. They were still striving for it, and this is why they wanted the season so bad this year, Kevin. They obviously knew that it was a special bunch they had on this 2020 roster.
Yeah, I mean, they put it together. I mean, there's been a lot to happen since that 2018 game. A lot we've talked about on the show, a lot we've dissected, good and bad. But they've really put it together. Best O-line in all of college football. It says a lot. And they're going to need every ounce of it tonight against a team that, well, they don't really defend the run really well based on our Bullet Points pregame show a couple of days ago. They led up over 200 yards to Western. And, quite frankly, UB has a huge matchup there in the run game. So they're going to utilize that, and I think they're going to run their way to victory. They're going to be able to pound it. They're going to have two really good running backs. They're going to be able to get it done. And they're going to put it all together from that 2018 loss that we all tuned into till today. So there's a lot of good things to look forward to here tonight.
I mean, Maniac, how long did we sit in those seats for? That had to be one of the most crushing Buffalo sports losses in my entire career.
Looking back on it, like I was talking about this, and I don't want to jinx it. I'm knocking on wood. I'm knocking on everything. If what happened then happened tonight, I would be inconsolable. I would actually be inconsolable. I kind of went numb and I kind of blurted out, but just looking back, I was looking back at some footage, the Titanic montage we put together back at the hotel. I mean, that was heartbreaking. I think that's all the more fuel for this bunch. And yeah, going back to the point, it's all the more reason they wanted to play this year. Robbie Ryan, I mean, geez, we're having this great roster. We're finally favored to win the MAC over Ohio for the first time since, the Beatles were a band. And all of a sudden, they're going to cancel the season. In a span of 90 days, it goes from a canceled season to UB on the precipice of a MAC championship. Again, got to go out and play this 60 minutes, and we'll get into that quickly here. But, unbelievable, Rob.
Yeah, exactly. What was it, July when it was canceled originally?
August, Rob. August. It's all happened so quickly.
So fast. August, we were getting ready to start. First week in September, usually first game. We were ready possibly for that Ohio State game week 2. That was probably going to be a huge UB turnout. COVID happens, cancellation. We don't know what's going on. We get reports in October that we're going to come back in November. 6-game schedule. We knew what we had to happen. You keep winning, we'll be in Detroit. All roads lead to Detroit, and here we are tonight in Detroit.
And shout out everybody tuning in, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, this Buffalo football special. We have almost 100 viewers across the platforms. Chime in with your questions for Degenerate Al, QB1 Joe Licata, Kevin Messeri, and Rob Ryan. Gents, let's get into it. We've seen the work behind the scenes. Lance Leipold, Coach of the Year. Jarpat, basically Superhero of the Year at this point with no new Marvel movies. But at this point, it's 60 minutes. It's about stopping Ball State. Kev, I think you would give us the best intro on this. What do you expect UB to come out and do, based on the success they've had this year and obviously a shortened schedule, but wanting to put your best 60-minute portfolio together?
Yeah, I mean, I think they have to come out and pound the rock, establish the running game early and often. Don't get cute. That's not something that I don't think they need to do in this specific game. They just need to do what they're best at. They had the huge advantage on the up front on their offensive line against an average, based on my advanced statistics, Ball State squad. Defensively, especially, they can throw the ball though. So that's why you got to get up a lot and make them one-dimensional on their side of the ball. And I think that they're able to do so. And I think they're able to accomplish that as long as they stick with it. I like a lot of outside zone runs against an average linebacking unit. So I would watch for outside zone, and I would watch them a lot of pin and pulls by their guards. So that's kind of what I'm looking for tonight.
And I'm going to say something about this game too. Everyone's expecting this to be the Jarpat Mark show. I think we're going to get a sneaky game from Van Treese, Licata. I really do. I mean, what is UB good at? That's what Ball State's been preparing for a week, 2 weeks now. I'm telling you right now, Van Treese, I'm setting that over. I think he's going over 200 yards passing. A couple big-time throws.
That's interesting that you think that. I go back and forth with thoughts on this. As a player, yes, you agree. They're going to load the box. They're going to put 8, 9 in the box, and they're going to try to stop the run. And nobody's been able to do it all year. So from a player standpoint, you're kind of thinking, all right, they're loading the box, let's throw it over their heads. But as a coach now and in a coaching standpoint, you got to dance with who brought you. You got to give Patterson 35, 40 carries. You got to give Marks his 15 to 20. That's how you got there. You can't, after this game, if they throw the ball 40 times tonight and they lose the game, it's going to be tough to walk into that locker room and look at the seniors and tell them sorry for losing that game because you just threw the ball 40 times.
No, yeah, but Joe, I'm not talking 40 throws from Van Treese.
It might be those 1 or 2 where he has to check out of it. Joe, you have as a gamer know this. What if Ball State's coming out with 9 in the box and you got none out on the edge where the situation where if you get him the ball, he's one-on-one for an 80-yard play.
Now, listen,
so I'm just saying, what is your thought on that?
I mean that's that exact scenario with the ball in my hands. I'm checking out of it. But it's our offenses were built differently than this offense is. So yes, as a gamer, I'm checking out of that thing. But as a coach, I'm saying, look, I don't care if they load the box. I don't care. People have done it to us all season. Like you mentioned earlier, they're one of the best zone teams in football. They do a lot of the shifting and motioning pre-snaps and just getting horizontal looks to the defense and changing things and then running inside zone. And they keep it relatively simple in their run game and just mix up different formations. And I think if they do that tonight, like they have been, and just it's a numbers game, they'll be all right. I don't think they're throwing for – 200 yards isn't that many yards. I don't think they're throwing for over 250.
Okay, well, that's a great point, Al. Let's get our Bermuda Triangle of Rob, Ryan, Kev, and Joe on this. Let's do an over-under for Van Treese of 204.5 yards. And by the way, great point by our friend Steve Mattis at Buffalo Fanatics. Just like the Bills now, every week the Bulls are the better team coming in. It's great to have to talk about what the other team has to do to beat us. And that's a great spot that Lance has this program in. But let's start with Kev, go Rob, and then we'll wrap back around to Joe. Over under 204.5 for Van Treese.
I'd be under. I'm probably in the upper ones. I think that's probably fair. Over the top a couple of times, couple quick passes to none. A couple of things will get done. They'll find LaFave, but I'm still going. They're gonna do what they got them there. Patterson alluded to it in his press conferences, saying that they stacked the box all year on us. No one's been able to accomplish anything on it. We just run protect so well. And like I said, outside zone's gonna be there. It's gonna be there tonight. They're not facing a particularly strong run defense. Like I said, over 200 yards to Western last game out. Got to ride that bread and butter under 200.
Yeah, I gotta also go 200. I'm in the same range, probably like the 150 to 175. A few long passes to Trevor Wilson or someone like that. But Ball State's, they have one of the better secondaries in the MAC. Why are we gonna go to something different that we haven't done all year? Just give it a Jared, give it a Marks, and just play 60 minutes and win the game after with just running.
And Joe, you got the over-under for KVT, a.k.a. Kyle Van Sheesh.
Van Sheesh. I'm going to hope for the under. Because I think if it's an over, it's a Bulls loss or it's a closer game than we expect.
Okay. Okay.
Now, with that being said, somebody mentioned it already that Antonio Nunn's wearing 41.
Ooh, be
So,
careful.
that's worth at least a touchdown and at least 75 yards
I
receiving.
was gonna say, you want to talk about pushing the right buttons between him and Lefebvre. If there's one of those would have been the pick for tonight if you really wanted them to get going for sure and make that offense truly unstoppable.
Yeah.
Speaking of truly unstoppable, there's a million different ways you can talk about it. Jarpat, he should be getting Heisman invitations. There's absolutely no reason he shouldn't be at least a day 2 pick next year in my book. He has done it all. He's lived up to the hype this year. Just looking at the numbers across the board, he has averaged 25 touches per game. So I think it's safe to say it's going to be a little bit more than that in a championship game, just leaning. So I'm going to set the line. Let's go Al, Joe, Rob, Kevin, over under 31.5 touches for Jarpat tonight.
Who's first?
I'm going first. 31.5. I'll take the under.
Okay. Keep in mind that was against Kent. He got 36. Against Bowling Green, he got 31. All other games, he was 20 or less.
Yeah, I'm definitely taking the under on that.
Joe?
It's over. It's got to be over, and it's over for the point that we talked about from that 2018 MAC championship game. They're not going to take their foot off the gas. If they're up by 3 scores, he's still getting the ball every time. And I hope that's what they're doing. Like we talked about the 2018 game, guys. They've been streaming that game in their team meeting room all year round.
Yeah.
Like it's literally for all of their summer workouts, for all of their fall training camp stuff. Every time they walk through that room into their meeting rooms, that game is on the TV. So like that, the coaches are thinking about it, the players are thinking about it, even the players that weren't even affected by that game, that weren't even there.
Mm-hmm.
It's ingrained in their head, that game. So if you think that game's not in the back of these coaches' minds, you're wrong. I mean, Patterson's going to get the ball every single time.
Most definitely. I love. By the way, I love the discotheque effect over at the Licata household. It's insane. I feel like I'm watching John Wick 4. Here comes Licata.
I got ESPN. They're showing Jarrett over here, 205 yards per game.
And by the way, real quick, we'll just take a quick pause. I just want to say, what a blessing this season ended up being for the coverage of UB. A national audience got to see those games against Kent State, got to see those games against Bowling Green. Things that might not have happened typically. But Rob and then Kevin, take us home. Over under 31.5 for Jarpat.
You got to go over. They're going to live and die off of the running game. They're going to win or lose by it. They're not going to go away from it. He's going to get over 31.5. I could see Mark's going over 15. They're going to live and die by the run tonight.
Okay, Kev, take us home. We got 2 overs and an under so far.
I got over on it. Like I said, I can't go double under on the passing yards and the touches by Patterson. So I'm going over by a significant margin, maybe in the upper 30s. And they're not going to let that game go the way it did previously. So I got over. They're going to want to show him off to the national audience, scouts, everything. I got over by a lot, and they're going to show off that offensive line all day. So I got over probably in the 30s.
I just wish he had a couple more carries against Kent State.
Yeah, we all do.
You don't have to tell me about that.
This is a chance to right that wrong. And keep in mind, those same wrongs helped Lance Leipold write this song. A little Kanye shout out there. But obviously, Joe loved it. That had 23 written all over it. 23 game winner. Let's go. We got Greg Thompson chiming in. He's on the over for that 31.5 prop.
I hope it's over, and I hope Antrese is under. That's what I'm hoping for.
That would mean a successful UB game.
That means UB wins.
Yes, no doubt about it. And that's all we want here on the Buffalo football pregame show. Folks, we are about 5 minutes pre-kickoff. I don't know what everyone's situations is at their own spot. Let's get a little toast.
Yes.
A little toast to what the Bulls have done this season and what was not expected to be much. I didn't pour much of a shot. People are going to probably let me have it.
I can't toast on an empty glass. What should I go grab?
Go grab anything. Hurry up.
Go,
Joe.
hurry.
Jeez. Show a little bit more intensity than that Ohio State game.
I mean, Maniac, do you really think, though, in Vegas, the over-under would be set at 31.5? That's high.
I think so. In a championship game, and you're adding in the angle that, like, what happened last time, they're not going to go away from Jarpat if there's anything. I mean, how many times did they run it on 3rd and 5+ with Jarpat in the last couple weeks?
Oh, that's fine. I would, too. when you have the best offensive line in football and then two great running
True.
backs.
Hey, here's to Lance Leipold. Here's to Mark Gunnet. Here's to the football team. Here's to everyone also behind the scenes who helped make this season happen, which was not a guarantee at the start. Salute to them. Horns up. Let's go, Bulls.
Let's go.
Bulls.
Okay, we got 5 minutes. 5 minutes until kickoff, folks. We're going to make sure we get you all set. So before we do score predictions, I'll let anyone kick this off, pun intended. One major key from UB tonight. Joe, lead us off. You've been in these spots before. You've been on that field. You've been in that UB football locker room. What's one key for this squad tonight as a 13-point favorite?
I mean, I'm going to give the very cliche answer, but it's true. Control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. I mean, I think if they can string together some long drives offensively, and then get pressure on their quarterback, they're in great shape. And that's what they've been able to do all season. They put teams into tough situations where they were able to just tee off. Their front four were able to just go. And if they're able to do that, they're in good shape tonight.
I would say, Maniac, like you were talking pre-show, don't let off the gas. I mean, they've had 4 consecutive games where the games aren't even close. Absolute blowouts. I mean, the closest margin of victory was, 19, the first game of the year, November 4th, against Northern Illinois. So you don't want to have this game close at all going into the third and fourth quarter. So keep that foot on the pedal, keep scoring the touchdowns, do not stop. And it's just, I mean, a lot of people think it's a slap in the face that the college football playoff rankings, the Bulls aren't in the top 25.
That was the perfect chip on the shoulder thing for this team going into this week for sure.
Yeah, so this is going to be, I mean, hopefully a massacre, 3-4 touchdown win. So yeah, keep the foot on the pedal and keep it rolling.
Yeah, I mean, the clear advantage, I mean, we talked about this, the line of scrimmage, and I talked about it earlier, so I won't use that one. But to me, it's going to be the DBs. I think they need to show up. They have a pretty good passing game over there. I've dogged their run-stopping ability on their defensive side of the ball, and that's not going to be a good matchup for Ball State in that category. But I do think that they can throw the ball particularly well on their offensive side. I mean, they have a couple decent receivers, a couple guys that could cause some damage. So just control that. Do what you need to do to help them out if you need to. But Justin Hall and Johannes Tyler, they're pretty legitimate receivers in this conference. So I think they need to play some good defensive back. And I mean, UB's had a little struggle with everybody in the conference so far defensively in terms of throwing the ball. So I'd like to see them step that up. And if they can do that, there's really not much of a strength that Ball State can bring to the table. So it's going to be those DB stepping up and showing that they can match up with Hall and Tyler because they're good. I mean, they're big play receivers. They go for over 12 yards a catch.
Yeah, you got to limit those. You don't want to get chunk plays against you. Obviously, you want to get those tries. Strong start. We're getting people chiming in. Greg from Facebook chiming in. Key, fast start is key. That's what they've gotten in a number of games. They've been able to kind of assert their will early. Rob, what do you got for us?
Yeah, I'm agreeing with Kevin. It's going to be all about the secondary. We've seen all year teams have been able to beat us secondary. I think this is the best receiving core we've seen all year. So as long as you can stop them or just maintain them, I mean, that's the only problem I think that we don't match up well against with them.
Okay.
Nightmares in 2018 of that secondary in the championship
Oh
game.
my God! It was like all of a sudden it was Teflon, and I respect Rick Ross, the Teflon Don, but we can't have that. All right, folks, we are just 120 seconds away from these teams lining up for kickoff, so let's go around the horn. Rob, Ryan, Kev, then Al and Joe. Let's get those score predictions in. Rob, kick us off.
Got to go full covering the spread. 49-28 Bulls.
Not bad. I'm not too far away. I got 45-20 UB in this game.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's ripping on me. They probably don't understand the graphic that we.
He was looking for a reason to take UB at the last second.
No, here we go. No. Everyone's ripping on me because they probably think I'm picking Ball State, and they don't realize this is against the spread.
Yeah.
I'm going to go UB 37, Ball State 24. Like I said, backdoor touchdown for Ball State to cover. UB's cruising all game, though, by 3 or 4 touchdowns. UB first half is the play.
Okay. I like the take. Licata, lay it on us.
41-20.
41-20 UB. I like that pick. I like 42-23. UB gets covered. We all have about in the 60s. All have UB covering. Yeah, so.
And last thing. Licata, you owe me a double order of wings from Elmo's if Van Treese goes over 200.
You got yourself a deal, buddy.
Something to keep an eye on. Okay, censor that, producers. But hey, love it. Shout out to Mark Ayers. Shout out to everybody tuning in Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Shout out to our guest Rob Ryan, Joe Licata. Shout out to our Pro UB analyst Kevin Massari, myself, and Al. This has been the UB football pregame show, the Buffalo football pregame show, the ultimate spot to do it. Make sure you're checking out TrainWreckSports.com. It's time. Get your hopes up. Get those horns up. Let's go.